It's Friday, June 14th, right now on 12 News at 10.
I'm Bianca Bono in Mesa, where police are investigating an explosion on the front doorstep of a man's home. Tonight, the search for the suspect continues.
Tonight, only on 12 News, a man arrested in 2022 during a traffic stop, which escalates quickly, says he was thrown to the ground by Phoenix police. Why this case mirrors the findings of the DOJ report.
An RV fire on the side of I-17 leads to a brush fire. Tonight, officials are warning a community to be prepared to evacuate.
Our weather impact alert continues through the weekend with the excessive heat warning through Sunday night. I'm seeing if we have any records in jeopardy coming up in my full forecast.
12 News at 10 with Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine starts now.
Shocking video shows an explosion in a Mesa neighborhood. The homeowner tells us a stranger showed up and launched a high-powered firework at his home, causing thousands of dollars in damage. Good evening, I'm Mark Curtis. Caribe has the night off. Thankfully, everyone's doing all right, but that man is understandably on edge. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono spoke with him. She's live outside the Mesa Police Department with more. Bianca?
Yeah, Mark, Nicholas Shear tells me he initially thought somebody shot at his house given the sounds that he heard. So you can imagine his surprise when he realized his roof and windows had been blown out after someone launched an explosive device right on his front doorstep.
It's something I never expected to ever have to go through.
Nicholas Shear is still trying to wrap his mind around what happened at his Mesa home Thursday night.
Someone just threw an explosive at your front door.
Around 9:30, he had just returned home after dinner, sitting in his living room when his Ring camera alerted.
I watched someone walk across the street into my driveway, and so I got up to see what was going on.
He saw a man get out of a white car wearing a red shirt and hat, appearing to take a photo as he approached Shear's home. Then he lights something on fire. Shear was walking to his front door, no way of knowing what was about to happen. An explosion on his front porch.
All I saw was light and a big noise, and I just got covered in a bunch of stuff. It was a bunch of glass, and I didn't know if I had been shot or what. I didn't know.
Shear frantically got everyone out of the house. He heard a car speed off, calling 911 as he assessed the situation. He was bleeding from cuts across his head.
We turn the corner and we see the damage for the first time, confirming that it was some sort of explosive that was thrown at the front door and then exploded up and just ripped apart the house.
His roof and windows blown out with even more damage inside. Mesa police creating a perimeter around the home to ensure it was safe. ATF responding too. Officials say a large firework or another explosive device was used.
When the police asked me if I thought I knew who did it, I just didn't. I couldn't think of a name of anybody that I'd be like, oh yeah, that person hates me.
Shear documents the building of custom Nissans on social media and has a following, but he has no idea who did this or why. To him, it doesn't matter. He just wants them caught.
I don't wish any harm on the person, but I really hope that there is accountability for them.
And Bianca, speaking of accountability, all of this and so many things are caught on camera these days. Have police been able to identify the suspect?
Not yet, Mark. We're told Mesa police detectives continue to investigate this case. They have not made any arrests and they haven't identified anyone publicly. So in the meantime, Shear tells me he went out today and bought additional cameras for his home. Understandably, he's pretty concerned for his own safety. Of course, if you recognize the person seen in that video or have any information about this case, you're urged to contact Mesa police. Mark, back to you.
Okay, Bianca, thanks. Tonight, there's a new wildfire burning in Yavapai County. And those who are living in the Cordes Lakes area are being told to prepare for potential evacuation. These are photos and videos sent to us by a viewer earlier tonight as crews try to contain what's now being called the Ironwood Fire. According to the Bureau of Land Management, this fire has burned about 200 acres. It began this afternoon after an RV caught fire on the shoulder of I-17. The northbound lanes were closed for several hours before reopening shortly before 8 o'clock this evening. We also want to update the Arcadia fire that started just south of Winkleman in Pinal County this afternoon. The Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management tells us crews have stopped forward progress on the fire and all evacuation orders have been lifted. So far, the fire has burned about 120 acres. So along with these fires, we're also have a 12 News weather impact alert due to all this excessive heat. Lindsay's tracking the warnings. And how do these high temperatures impact the fire behavior, Linz?
Well, it just makes it tougher to put the fire out, Mark. And temperatures around the Arcadia fire tomorrow will be above 110. We're seeing excessive heat, not just from Maricopa County, but also most of Pinal County, and it extends out towards Safford. This goes through Sunday night. Now up north near Cordis Lakes on the Ironwood fire lines, temperatures overnight there are going to be dropping down into the 60s. Wind speeds light out of the west-southwest at about 5 miles per hour. But then on the Ironwood fire lines in Cordis Lakes tomorrow, it's still going to be a very warm day. Not excessive heat warning, but by 10 a.m. we're already up to 90, and wind speeds will pick up in the afternoon. 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 90s. Here's our 3-day forecast in the valley with the excessive heat warning both Saturday and Sunday. Temps above 110, and we'll finally break those 110s early next week. Mark?
I do not consent to a search. I do not consent to a search.
We're not searching.
Oh, my arm is already broke, sir. That arm is already injured, sir.
Stop
I broke
resisting.
that arm.
Well, then
that
you should not
I
resist.
did not resist anything. It's all on camera.
Tonight, a story you'll only see on 12 News. A traffic stop quickly escalates after a man says he was pulled from his car, thrown to the ground by police, and arrested. That video comes just a day after a damning report was released from the Department of Justice that found Phoenix police engaged in a pattern of excessive force and violated civil rights for minority and disadvantaged groups. 12 News journalist Jonathan McCall has been working to get answers on this case for 2 years.
June 18th, 2022. Jeffrey Henderson out for an afternoon drive near 19th Avenue in Dunlap.
Hello, everybody. I got the cops behind me. We gonna see what they want.
Fearful of what could potentially happen,
He approached me at a very high rate of speed from behind.
he begins to record.
And at that point, they turned on the lights.
Initially thinking officers were headed to an emergency, he quickly switched lanes, trying to get out of the way. When he realized the lights were for him, he says he drove a few blocks until he found a shopping center.
He approached me calmly at first.
Is there a reason you failed to stop back when I was trying to pull you over?
No, I didn't see you back there until you started doing your thing.
Yeah, and that was, what, 6-7 blocks ago?
Okay, and then when I did notice you, I wanted to make sure I was in a good spot to stop in a public place where eyes and witnesses can also see the stop.
I understand, sir.
Right.
All right, sir, go ahead and turn the vehicle off.
But it would escalate in a matter of seconds.
What am I being stopped for, first of all?
What's that?
Officer, name and badge, please.
No. Get out.
Okay. I can do that. Do you want to see any? Wait.
Get out of the vehicle, sir.
Are you violating my rights?
I am not, sir.
You're not? Are
I'm
you sure?
legally allowed to get you out of the car. Let's
Okay.
go.
All right. Wait. Don't touch me. I'm not under arrest. Do not touch me. I'm not under arrest, correct?
Get out of the vehicle.
Am I being detained?
Yes, you are.
All right. Now, let me get out. Let me give you the appropriate things you need.
Get out of the car.
Wait a second. Don't
tense up on this dude.
No, that's my property.
Let go.
You're not allowed to ask me. I do not consent to a search. I do not consent to a search.
We're not searching.
Oh, my arm is already broke, sir. That arm is already injured, sir.
Stop
I broke
resisting.
that arm.
Well, then
That
you
arm-
should not
I
resist.
did not resist anything. It's all on camera.
Henderson's lawyer sharing the information with the Department of Justice as part of their civil rights investigation into the department. That 34-month investigation found that Phoenix police routinely used excessive force and violated rights of minority and disadvantaged communities. The report also found that Black Phoenix drivers are 144% more likely to be arrested or cited than white drivers for low-level moving violations, and that officers unreasonably escalate situations in the first few minutes or even few seconds of an encounter.
I think it's important to always get better. You don't get better unless you look at criticism.
Interim Police Chief Michael Sullivan admitting the department still has work to do to resolve issues between the public and police.
Jonathan, that video is disturbing to watch, to say the least. Do we know what happened to the officers involved?
So that is one of the questions we have been pressing Phoenix Police for the last 2 years about exactly what happened with those police officers. Did they receive any type of discipline, any type of training as a result of that? So far, we have yet to hear back from them on exactly what happened with those officers involved.
All right. Jonathan McCall reporting from Phoenix Police. Jonathan, thanks. Today, flags at the Scottsdale Police Department were flown at half staff for Detective Ryan So, who died last night. We want to show you the procession that was held early this morning for Detective So. He died in what police are calling a critical incident near Pima and Bell Roads. Police still haven't specified how he was injured. So's passing is the second death in the line of duty in Scottsdale police history. Now to the latest on Decision 2024. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden touched down in Phoenix around 6:30 this evening. She's here trying to win over senior voters in our state. This comes in the wake of a new study out of Phoenix that finds older voters will be the deciding factor in the upcoming presidential election. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly was there for the First Lady's arrival tonight and spoke with those behind this study. Chase?
Mark, the First Lady's traveling to multiple states to speak to this demographic. Her visit comes just a week after former President Donald Trump also came to the Valley. In her second visit to the Valley within a month, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden arrived in Phoenix to once again encourage Arizonans to vote for her husband, specifically holding an event Saturday to speak with an age group that is known to consistently turn out to the polls. Seniors.
They often make the majority of the electorate.
Dana Kennedy, the Arizona director for AARP, said for the 2020 presidential election, 55% of voter turnout was people 50 and older. So the organization commissioned a bipartisan group to conduct an election survey of more than 1,300 voters to see how that same group is leaning for president this year. Finding 49% said they would vote for former President Donald Trump, with 39% saying they would vote for President Joe Biden.
However, among women voters, the candidates are tied.
It also found that Biden led among Hispanic voters compared to Trump. The study also looked into key issues seniors want addressed.
So we know that economic issues are extremely important to this block of voters. Social Security remains, a top issue.
Probably the single most important issue for those over 50.
Former Republican state legislator and current political consultant Stan Barnes also weighing in on the impact seniors will have this election.
They are the ones that make all the difference because they turn out.
While the youth vote is important, Barnes says they just aren't reliable.
And it just never seems to materialize. And when they do turn out, they're highly influenced by people over 50 in their lives.
Still, with the presidential race, U.S. Senate and House seats, along with several ballot initiatives, both Barnes and Kennedy believe voter turnout will be high. How Arizonans vote could create serious change for the U.S.
We are a critical component to the national outcome.
Now, Barnes told me he also expects some voters to flip-flop from their vote in 2020, talking about Republicans who voted for Biden because they didn't like Trump. But after the past 4 years, he says they may take their chances with the former president, even if they don't necessarily agree with what he has to say. We're live in the studio. Chase Golightly, 12 News.